88 followers. Just kidding. I just got 100. I haven't posted in like a year and a half and y'all are still subscribing to me. Y'all are wild. Have you ever had an art teacher stand there and tell you to draw what you see with her stupid haircut, but you just can't? Scribble, scribble, scribble. Huh? 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 This is my magnus opus. So one way to get better at drawing what you see is to practice drawing what you see. You need to learn to see what you're actually drawing. See, we all start out as Stevie Wonder when we first come to art. We're blind to reality. We only draw what we think we see instead of drawing what we actually see. So when we improve our drawing or learning to see what we draw, we are evolving into a human being that can see. Okay, that was a bad analogy. I can feel Stevie Wonder's eyes on me now. His cold, cold gaze. Stevie, I'm over here. So some of the things you want to look at are the shape of what you're drawing, the negative space around it, the angles of the lines that make up the shape, and the distance and angles of the shape in relation to other shapes and lines. So let's do an example here. I have a shape sheet, and before we continue, I do have this shape sheet available for download on Gumroad. It comes with a line sheet as well, and it's free. You go to the download link and just type in 0. I also have a package of 6 other sheets that you can download if you want to continue practicing after you finish those 2 sheets. Okay, back to drawing the shapes. So let's go ahead and do this triangle here. And the basic shape is the triangle. The negative space of the object is all this around it. And the line angles. So it's only 2 lines and it's pretty much one angle, this one here. But if I look at, or if I draw a line right here, then I could see that this one on top makes roughly a 90-degree angle. And this second line going diagonally down to the left looks about halfway, so it's around 45 degrees. That should help us going into drawing the shape. And when you're looking at the object also, you want to see where it falls in relation to other objects. So that would be looking at things like where the point starts or where it is in relation to the other objects. So that's this distance here to this object, and then that's this distance to this object. And so when you're drawing the shape, you want to take those 2 measurements into consideration. And so if I want to find out how far this point is in relation to this point of this object, then I would do that measurement. I would bring my pencil or my pen back and forth to see how far that distance is, and then I could come over here and do that same measurement to find that the point is roughly in line with this, or it's roughly in this position. And so I'll do the same thing with the line that goes vertically. I just bring my pen up and down to get a feel for that distance, and I come back over here and do the same thing. Just hover it over back and forth to get a rough estimate of the distance. And so knowing that the top line of the triangle is it's pretty much straight, then we could assume that we can go ahead and draw the line straight on this side. And so now that we have that line in shape, in place, what we want to do is compare the negative space between the triangle and the object above it. So that's this space here. Compare the two, and this one on the right, it looks a little too small. So what I'm going to do is erase the top of the line a little bit until it looks roughly the same. And that looks pretty close. But if we look at the angle of the line on the right over here, I can tell that it's not really straight. It goes up to the left a little bit. The left side is a little higher. So I'm going to fill in the bottom a little bit and erase the right side so that it's more level. And so the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out accidentally. I'm going to measure the distance between the bottom edge of the triangle with this circular thing. So I'm just going to do the same thing and hover back and forth until I get a feel for that measurement. And then I'm coming over here, do the same thing. Find roughly where the position is at. And so now I have to look at the negative space to see how I did. And this side looks a little too small, well, the top of it. So this is where the point would be. That looks a little better. And knowing that the angle is 45 degrees, I could just connect the two dots. And to check to see how well we did, I'm going to use this point and measure how much of the triangle or how much of this line is below the bottom line of this object. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. It roughly goes right about there. So it looks like this side is a little too big. So I'm going to erase this and bring it up a little bit. And there we go. So now the shape sheet does have a key to check to see how well I did. And let's see. Ooh. Let's bring down the opacity a little bit. Ooh. Got him. We nailed it, guys. We nailed it. So to recap, some of the things you want to look at are the overall shape of the object, angles, negative space, and the relationship between the object that you're drawing and the objects around it. So that could be angles, that could be distance from other objects, for example. And yeah, take this newfound knowledge and let your dreams soar.